Hey everybody, and welcome to the Daily Retro. I'm Retro Mark, and before we get started, I want to let you guys all know I'm truly sorry for any audio interruptions and whatnot. I have a lot of people in my house that are staying here right now, and it's hard to find a quiet place to work. So, yeah, I just want to apologize for any game videos or any kind of videos I post out, and they're a little loud and whatnot. I am truly sorry. So, with that note, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, the original Robocop, yes, the original Robocop with Peter Weller is getting a direct sequel. Can you freaking believe it? Oh my god, it's finally getting a sequel. Although I wasn't aware that a sequel was needing to be made, because you are right when you're thinking, well, if there's Robocop 2, isn't that a sequel? Well, Robocop 2 can be more of a standalone feature film than a sequel, because it doesn't really have any connections to the first one, except for the fact that his so-called wife or who he was married to, just was insane, and that there was a lot of corruption involved with that really ridiculous lawyer that was in that movie that I really didn't care much for. So anyways, Robocop is getting a direct sequel, and no, it's not the 2014 film, which I don't know if that's ever going to get a sequel, which I don't think so. It's been quite a bit. So, yes, it's actually quite interesting, and MGM is picking it up. What was said was, it might be successful, and I'm speechless right now. I'm a huge fan of Robocop. I am a huge fan of Robocop. I've watched 1, 2, 3. There's 2 different animated cartoons, lots of video games. The reboot in 2014. I didn't necessarily care for the TV show because it was just it was weird. It was really, really, really weird. Not much right now is known about this sequel, as I know that I think it was the original writer who did the first RoboCop, just started writing it, and he pitched it to MGM, and they were like, "Whoa, we got to get on board with this. This is awesome." And it's weird. There's a lot of questions that are needing to be asked. Is it going to be the original RoboCop suit? Come on, it's RoboCop, right? The suit still holds up today. I don't understand why they wanted to redo that in 2014 when I'm glad I got to see the original costume, well, on a monitor in the reboot, but Robocop is Robocop. He's big, he's bulky. I don't think Robocop actually runs, like he did in the 2014 film. I don't know. I think the 2014 film was good, but it just felt like the TV show. They didn't have commercials like in the original did or any of the other ones. Of course you had Pat Novak, and it was like, it's good. It's Samuel L. Jackson. Of course it's going to be good, and he's going to make the most of what he has. But, it was just, I don't know. It just felt too much like a TV show, I guess. And it just, the goofballs. There were goofballs, like the assistants to the CEO of Omnicorp. I didn't care much for them at all. Like, what was their role in that entire scene except for making a nuisance of everything? And it wasn't taken too seriously. So just like the original, and it's RoboCop. I know I'm not making too much sense because I keep rambling, but it's RoboCop. It's hyper violent, and I don't know how that's going to fare up in today's audience. Everybody gets butthurt about everything. And everybody likes to tattle on everything. This right here, we got to see in the original, got boobs. You got crack being smelt off of everybody else. You got people blowing up. You get bullet to the head. It is just hyper violent and ridiculousness. And so I'm really, really kind of excited, but yet I'm also worried that it may not be good. And let's think. It's been 30 years, give or take a few years. RoboCop's been around since the first one. And his outings up until now, they've been decent. They haven't been anything, spectacular like the first movie. Of course, I do like the movies themselves. Now, Prime Directives, which was technically RoboCop 4, I was, I thought it was pretty ridiculous because, you can definitely tell the man is in a suit, and because there was sometimes it would, sometimes his left legs would just pop out of place. That's not supposed to happen. Of course, and the editing's not so great, and the acting's weird. They were direct-to-home videos back in the day, but RoboCop is getting a sequel, like I have said countless times before, and what they do go to say is in the 80s, that was kind of a satire about a corporate America, and a little bit about what was going on in law enforcement and police and stuff like that. Those were topics that the writer thought he could write about in a fun way, and luckily he hooked up with a bunch of talented people, and the movie turned out really well. He also goes to say is he thinks that it was his sense of humor. It was a sort of way of how he looked at things. And I don't know, he goes to saying that's how you're supposed to write action movies. They were exciting, but you weren't supposed to write them in a funny or satirical way, and he went ahead and did it. So he brought his own mix to the whole movie, and what do we got? We got RoboCop. But it's just really weird. He even goes to sell what he will say is he's not supposed to say much. Of course, everybody's got to say that, right? There's been a bunch of other RoboCop movies, and there was recently a remake, and I would say this would be going back to old RoboCop we all love and starting there and going forward. So it's a continuation, really, of the first movie in his mind, so it's a little bit more of the old school thing. So there is no confirmation that the old suit's going to be back. So we're going back old school, but there could be new school. It could be more modern RoboCop. We could see the original RoboCop suit and possibly get an upgrade to it. Now, I'm really hoping it doesn't do anything like what 2014's is make him really slim. I do want to see a bulky RoboCop. So, I don't know if Paul Verhoeven or whatever you want to call his name is on board. There is no director, no producer on board right now, but MGM is like, woo, let's go for it. And so this is awesome. I am super excited. I am stoked. This is going to be great. It's RoboCop. It is RoboCop. I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear from you. I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. It's RoboCop. It's going to be great, but I'm also worried that it might not be too good because it's in today's time period, and things that were in the 80s, don't necessarily need a reboot, okay? Because that's what made them classics. I can see them coming back to the big screens as, showing them back on the big screens, but not getting a sequel because sometimes stuff like that just doesn't fare up very well. But I want to hear from you guys and what you guys have to say. And I also want to thank you guys for following me on Twitter at ModernRetroCO. And wow, and you guys liking a lot of the stuff and commenting on what I post and whatnot. But I want to give you guys a big thanks for that. And if you guys see my cactar on the back of my car, hit me up on Twitter like, hey, I saw your car and whatnot. But yeah, that was me. So I want to hear from you guys, and thank you very much. And I'll see you guys next time, all right?